Hello, story breakers! Welcome to the Deciphering Stories channel, where we explore the forgotten and fascinating events of our history. Today, we dive into the often overlooked pages of world history, the First World War. Get ready for an exciting journey full of revelations. Before we start, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why the First World War is often forgotten among other historical events? Stay with us as we're about to uncover secrets, reveal epic battles, and delve into unexplored stories that shaped our world. Have you ever wondered how a single bullet can change the world's history? Picture this. The year is 1914, and tensions are brewing among the major powers of Europe. Alliances are being formed, with countries pledging to support each other in times of conflict. Now enter Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, a prominent figure set to inherit the Austro-Hungarian throne. On a warm June day, he and his wife Sophie are visiting Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. Little did they know their lives were about to be cut tragically short. This was the spark that ignited the world. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand was a shockwave that echoed across the globe. It was not just the death of an archduke, it was the catalyst that set the wheels of war in motion. The alliances formed, the tensions that had been building, everything was now primed for explosion. And so, with a single gunshot, the world was thrust into what would become one of its deadliest conflicts. Can you imagine living in a trench amongst rats and lice with the constant fear of death hanging over you? Welcome to the Western Front, a grim stretch of land where soldiers lived and died in the trenches of despair. These trenches were not just holes in the ground. They were a complex network of narrow pathways, dug deep into the earth, a sanctuary of sorts from the deadly ballet above. But life within these trenches was far from a sanctuary. Soldiers battled not only the enemy but also rampant disease, harsh weather, and a scarcity of necessities. The terror of the unknown was a constant companion, as was the fear of new terrifying weapons. Tanks, an invention that transformed warfare, trudged over the broken earth. The air, once filled with the songs of birds, was now thick with the deadly mist of chemical weapons. Life in the trenches was a harrowing experience, a testament to the brutal reality of war. Did you know that the First World War was indeed a global war, reaching far beyond the borders of Europe? This conflict, ignited by a spark in Serbia, soon spread like wildfire, engulfing nations from every corner of the globe. Let's take a step back and look at the wider picture. Far from the trenches of Europe, battles raged on land and sea, forever shaping the course of history. In the Middle East, the Arab Revolt broke the back of the Ottoman Empire, birthing new nations in its wake. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, the Gallipoli campaign saw a fierce struggle between the Allies and the Central Powers, a battle that was to claim hundreds of thousands of lives. From Asia to Africa, from the Americas to Australia, no continent was untouched by the cataclysm of the Great War. From the sands of the Middle East to the shores of Gallipoli, the war left its mark on nations far and wide. How does a war that caused so much devastation finally come to an end? The answer lies in a series of pivotal events that marked the closing chapters of the Great War. By the time 1918 rolled around, it was clear that the war had taken a heavy toll on all sides. Countries were exhausted, economies were on the brink of collapse, and the human cost was simply too high. The tide began to turn when the Allies launched a series of successful offensives, pushing back the Central Powers on multiple fronts. As the Central Powers crumbled, negotiations for peace began, resulting in the signing of the armistice on November 11, 1918. This was followed by the signing of the Treaty of Versailles the following year, officially ending the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. And so, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns fell silent, marking the end of the Great War. But what happens when the guns stop firing and the smoke clears? This is where our story takes a turn. The aftermath of the First World War was a time of profound change, as the world tried to heal from the wounds of a conflict that had shaken it to its core. Political boundaries shifted, empires crumbled, and new nations emerged from the ashes. One of the most significant developments was the Spanish flu pandemic. This deadly virus spread rapidly in the wake of the war, killing millions around the world and adding another layer of tragedy to an already devastated globe. In an attempt to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again, the League of Nations was formed. Despite its ultimate failure, it laid the groundwork for today's United Nations, proving that even in the darkest times there's always a glimmer of hope. The First World War may have ended, but its echoes can still be felt today, a stark reminder of the cost of conflict. And there you have it, Storybreakers. The First World War, often forgotten but never less impactful. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to subscribe to the Decifrando Historias channel for more intriguing content like this. Remember to like, share with your friends, and comment below about which historical period you would like to see deciphered here on the channel. Until next time, Story Decipherers. Together, let's unravel the past and understand the present.